Okay, here we are back at Desmos's vector field generator, and that's just the default arrows that it actually draws. I've hidden the equations, so we're not going to sit and look at them. What I have here are just four simple formulas and asking, are these actually the right ones? So for example, could the formula for this vector field be xi plus yj? If it's not true, we should be able to find some arrows where it doesn't work. For example, if I look at the formula xi plus yj, in the first quadrant, the y values are all positive, and the formula would then say the vectors that should be drawn should all have a positive j component. So all the vectors in the first quadrant should be pointing up, and that's not what happens way over by 10, so that's not right. What about xi minus yj? If I look in the second quadrant where the y values are positive, right, this formula should be telling me that all the arrows should be pointing down, because this formula says in the second quadrant when y is positive, there should be a negative j component. So all the arrows in the second quadrant should be pointing down. That's not what's happening here. What about the third one, xi plus xj? Well, you can see there's no y value at all. And not having any y value at all means the arrow shouldn't be dependent at all on y. So for example, if I look over here at the point 1, 0, right, I have a little arrow that's going down. If there's no y at all, I should be able to move due north and the arrow should all look exactly the same, but that's not true. If I go way here to the top, right, those arrows are bigger and pointing up. This one was little and pointing down, so the formula could not have been xi plus xj because the arrows are clearly dependent on y. Now finally, if I want yi minus xj, that starts to rotate like this one, so it's a little bit harder to think about where it is. But I was looking at the x-axis. Now, no, the y-axis. If I look at the y-axis where x equals 0, the formula says whenever x is 0, you should have no j component. A vector with no j component should be pointing due left or due right. And you can see that on the y-axis here, when x is 0, those are not pointing due left or due right. They actually all have some very big slant to them. So that actually can't be the correct formula either. It sounds weird that this is kind of useful, but it is useful, and it's something I would like us to practice just a little.